All of life is holy ground. All of life is holy ground. Holy ground. Hello, Nate. Welcome.
Oh, it's echoey.
So as we move into this experience, we're going to proceed to the Shema, which will give us a sense of oneness. And I love to share my definition of the Shema, which is very simple. Listen, everyone. Listen and know that we don't know what this big thing is, and we don't know where it is. We cannot define it with words. We cannot define it with pictures. We cannot define it with human expression. The only thing we do know is that it is one. So this is a Yom Tov Shema that I learned from my dear friend Rabbi Jerry Winston. May his memory be for a blessing. And please join with. The words are the same. The melody is different. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Is the sound on now?
Yes, it is.
Good.
And then.
Thank you for joining us tonight. So I'm going to move into what I call the creative part of this service. So I am going to mention some words. And as I mention the words, you can respond to them in the chat. You can draw them or paint them. You can write them, whatever you're inspired to do. And I am assuming that the Facebook has volume now. So Nate, maybe you can tell us that. Sorry for those of you that did not have volume on Facebook.
Pretty sure you've got one viewer.
Shana Tova.
Yep, one viewer.
Umei Tuka. Shana Tova to everybody. Okay, Shana Tova. Umei Tuka. Shana Tova. So the first word, these are all words that begin with the prefix re. It's amazing how corresponding, how interesting the many, many words that begin with re are. So as I say the words, just write or draw or imagine, if you don't feel like writing or drawing, what comes up for you around Yom Tov. And of course, Yom Tov is a time to look inward, to say this year, how have I made the mark and how have I missed the mark? What's really nice is that sin in Judaism does not mean hell and damnation. Sin is called missing the mark. So how have I made the mark? How have I missed the mark? What are the ways that I have made the mark? What are the ways that I have hit and missed the mark? So you're ready? Here comes the words. And tell me in your pictures or in the chat box what these words mean to you. The first word is renew. Renew. So when I think of renew, I think of renewing my dedication and my vows to things that I already believe in. What does renew mean to you? What is it to renew? Review. Actually, before you can renew or while you're renewing, you need to review. What is to review? All of these words which with re mean doing it again. Renew, review. So just to sit back, and again, you can do whatever you like in whatever fashion you want, but to think about looking back on your year. What happened in January? What happened in February? What happened in March? What happened in April, May, June, July? What happened in the Jewish year? September, October, November, and on. Remember. What are things that you want to remember that you didn't remember this year? We did a wonderful exercise on a retreat I went to where we wrote ourselves New Year's cards, Rosh HaShanah cards, which told us from our own point of view what we needed to look at for the year to come. It's a really nice exercise.
Can I move this so that I'm not in the way?
My lovely grandchild, Jam, is with us today, just trying to move themselves out of the picture.
Oh, good now.
Okay. Regret. What does it mean to regret? One hopes that you have nothing in your life to regret. Regret is actually kind of a negative emotion. Regret has the sense of not being able to do anything about it. And I think sometimes when we regret, it's good to be able to take something which was an experience out of the realm of still being an experience and move it into the realm of being a memory. So remembering is different than experiencing. I remember that this bad, horrible thing happened to me, but I'm not experiencing it now. And so it becomes then history rather than experience. And I think this is how a lot of Holocaust survivors went on, was by turning that horrible experience, somehow shifting it to a memory, a history, which they could share, but not carry in everyday life. Yes, remember, but not continue to experience. Because when we continue to experience the pain of the past, we are giving power to the people and the situations that inflicted that on us. Reveal. Again, please feel free to add into the box whatever you want to respond to these words. Reveal. Regroup. Reimagine. What does reimagining look like? Maybe reimagining is a new story. Maybe my story has been my whole life that I can't sing in tune. And I can reimagine singing in tune because actually everybody can sing if they can find their voice. Reimagining that good things will happen. Redirecting. Sometimes with kids, when they act really gnarly, we have to redirect them. Amen to that. Rejuvenate, which is to take something old and make it feel new again. What does rejuvenate look like? What do these words look like to you? Isn't it amazing, all these words? Now, here's a big one. Remind. What do we need to remind ourselves? Remind. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves to be kind. To replenish. I love the part of the Torah that says human beings should multiply and expand, but remember to replenish the earth, because we've seen right now what happens if we don't replenish the earth. And this is open to all your definitions. It's just all these great words. Rebuild. There are so many people rebuilding who have lost their homes, who have lost their homeland. How about relax? Does anybody here know how to relax? If you haven't learned to relax yet, try my very high spiritual exercise called mindlessness. Instead of mindfulness, it's mindlessness, which is to lay on the couch and stare at the ceiling once a day for 10 minutes. Renew, rebirth, reject, to decide that you're not going to let those things into your life that harm you. Reject. Repent is in there. Rebuild. Thank you, Jam.
Release is there twice, right next to
Release is there twice because it's so important to release the things that have harmed you or have upset you. To release your anger, to release your hatred and let it melt into ahava, which is love. And in the Aramaic translation or root of the word ahava is to give. And how many of us participate in love in giving rather than taking? So I'd like to sing a song which says to spread over you peace, to spread over all the people peace, and for everyone to just close their eyes, whoever's here tonight, and to listen to this song. Close your eyes and think about your angels. Your angels are kind of like your blankets and your pillow. Your angels protect you. Your angels love you. And if you don't believe actually in kind of unincarnated beings flying around with wings, spreading joy, listen to this statement from the Talmud. And Jam, thank you for joining us tonight.
Goodbye.
Shana Tova, as they disappear. One of my favorite lines from the Talmud. Hovering over every single blade of grass is an angel whispering, grow, grow. Ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shlomecha, ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shlomecha. Ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. What I mentioned at the beginning of this little experience was to draw or write or compose or sing or enter into the chat box anything that you think of when you're singing or listening to these songs. Ufros aleinu sukat, sukat, shlomecha. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la. So isn't it interesting? Isn't it interesting? Hello, Ruby. Hello, Benjamin. Hello, Nate. Isn't it interesting that ordinarily on Yom Tov, we don't use technology because technology is kind of like work, and we're supposed to cease work and sort of go through these 10 days of looking at ourselves. And isn't it interesting that tonight you can visit almost any synagogue in the world virtually for your service, which is why I started this at 5 o'clock. So locally, Shomrei Torah, Beth Ami, Ner Shalom, Shir Shalom, Chabad, and congregations all over the country and all over the world have put for no fee as a gift their services for the whole High Holy Days, many of them on Zoom or Facebook Live. Wow, that's amazing. And so after this, which I'm doing tonight, was just a little taste of Yom Tov. You can go to your place of choice and just Google synagogues and high holy services on Zoom, and you'll come up with a whole list of them. So I understand that the sound was off at the beginning. That's not uncommon for me. You can see in the background the beautiful Yom Tov candles are burning of unequal heights, which is just fine. And so I'm going to take one more opportunity to let you know that tonight this is just a Yom Tov experience. It's like a little hors d'oeuvre. It's like a little preparation. It's like a little glimpse into the gates of repentance and the gates of forgiveness. I love this image of the gates slowly opening and kind of squeezing inside and letting ourselves self-reflect, self-forgive. If you don't feel like recounting your sins, the times you've missed the mark, put that aside this year. Recount the beautiful things that you've done and shared. Before I re-bless the lights, because I know that some of you missed it, or maybe saw it, just the words, I want to mention a few more words that may prompt you to draw a picture or to make a comment in the chat box. By the way, if you think of any other words that start with that are pertinent to High Holy Days, stick them in the chat, because we all would appreciate that. So, apology, forgiveness, sorry, redemption, mercy, loving kindness, apology, forgiveness, mercy, redemption, loving kindness. We almost don't have to say more. Redemption is so important. Redemption from others and redemption for our own selves, for our shortcomings. I want to talk for 1 minute about sorry. My wife and I read a book together that we found one time on a cruise in the library, in one of those interesting libraries that has random books, and it was called The Sorry Diet. And we learned something from that book. We say sorry too much. So, for instance, if someone calls me up and says, oh, can't you make it to the meeting tomorrow night? I know we didn't call you before. We really need you there. I am inclined to say, sorry, I can't make it. But instead, turns out I can't make it. I'd love to come next time. Because once you say I'm sorry, you're saying you did something wrong. And because you didn't know about a meeting at the last minute, you're called about and can't attend it, shouldn't be sorry. And think of all the times that we say sorry, it diminishes the impact of apology. So maybe for this Yom Tov, we can make a pledge to limit to go on a sorry diet and limit the times we say I'm sorry to when we really mean it, and use other words to express that very important gesture. Anyway, the candles are right behind me. I'm going to sing the blessing again. I'm sitting here watching things get darker a little quicker as we move towards the winter. Although it's almost 100 degrees out, I'm very excited to be moving towards the winter. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav b'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. And probably my favorite two blessings in Judaism, and I like the word blessing because we're not really praying necessarily for something, but we're blessing something, is one, I was taught when you see an accident or something horrible that happens or you don't understand, or a young child gets very ill and or God forbid dies, blessed be thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who makes things we cannot understand. And one little blessing I made up, which is, blessed be thou, Lord our God, King of the universe, who gives us small benign afflictions. It's kind of the blessing over the small problem. Thank God for the small problem. And please don't send me the big ones. Finally, my favorite blessing, the Shekianu, the third blessing from Hanukkah, it's really a time machine blessing, and it's saying, thank you for putting me on the continuum. Because I was born, because my soul was given a body, I am on the continuum of the Jewish experience. And I go back and back and back and back and back with what I call genetic DNA. And I hope to go forward with those that I have brought into the world. There is no one that's not on the continuum. Some people don't realize they're on the continuum. And that continuum is reflected in the blessing, Shekianu, when it says, thank you for bringing me from way there to here. Somehow, if it was like a dot to dot in one of those coloring books we did as a kid, we started on one dot and we came all the way around and we got back to the dot. And we're at that dot now, we're moving on. So we're all part of the continuum and we don't stop being part of the continuum when we're not here. Witness. We all could have traits that are very similar to our own traits that came from 3, 4, 5, 6 generations ago. So I call this the blessing of the generations. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shekianu v'kimanu v'higianu lazman hazeh. Amen. So I've been doing these little online Shabbats and ceremonies ever since March of 2020, when the pandemic started. I have rarely missed a week. It's been fabulous to have a ritual. And it can be noted that if we don't have positive, healthy rituals, we often give way to obsession and compulsion, which are the dark side of ritual. So, blessings for all the rituals that our Jewish heritage gives us. I want to also say that I do some preparation, but not a lot of preparation for these services, and a lot of times I wait for what comes. And so the pauses and the little mistakes and the little glitches and people running in and out and forgetting to turn the sound on and the other night blocking the sound completely on Shabbat, they're all mistakes. And when I make a mistake, I usually say 80-20. 80% of the time I'm going to do things pretty well, and 20% of the time I'm going to mess it up. And I don't say my bad, because my bad kind of sort of dismisses me, and I go over my bad. I forgive myself. I don't say my bad. I say, wow, how can I make that better next time? A few more words to think about. Empathy, compassion, and pity. Very, very different gestures. Empathy is that I've been there, I feel that way. Compassion is a little bit like I feel towards all people loving kindness. Gemilut chasadim. Pity is a little bit pompous. I try not to do pity because pity is, I feel sorry for you, but you're there because of your own fault. Pity has a subtext of blame. Try to stay away from pity. I try to stay away from pity. Yeah. And the blessing or the song that we sing when we carry on the Torah that really, I think, brings to light all of Judaism in one song, in one blessing. Al Shlosha Devarim, on three things are we based: on Torah, on work, and on loving kindness. And Torah is to say everything that we have ever seen, written, or danced, or sung, or painted, or sculpted, or acted out. Gemilut chasadim, loving kindness, and avodah, work. Work meaning practice, as in practicing what I teach. Al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed, shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, al shlosha devarim, haolam omed, al haTorah ve'al havodah ve'al gemilut chasadim, al haTorah ve'al havodah ve'al gemilut chasadim. Finally, I want to talk about the Ve'ahavta. You can hear the sounds of preparation in the background of the giving of my family towards the memory and the carrying forward of this wonderful tradition of being together with family or friends or being together with God on Rosh HaShanah, the beginning of the year. It's not a time to beat ourselves up, and it's not a time to punish for self-punishment. It's a time for redemption. Every day is a chance for redemption, but especially if you forgot, Rosh Hashanah to Yom Kippur, the 10 days of Tshuva, is very, very important and a big gift that we have. So, the Ve'ahavta. We all know it. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and all thy might. We should love God with all our soul, with all our heart, and all our might. And we shall write it on the doorposts of our house and on our gates, and we should remember it and do it when we're standing up and sitting down and laying down. When we come in the house, when we come out of the house, in other words, all the time, we should be teaching. What is it we're teaching? So Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, we are teaching Not you should believe in God or you must believe in God, but we should love God. You should. You should love God. And can you love something even if you're not sure if you believe in it or you can't see it or feel it? I think we do that all the time when we read stories. We love characters. We love messages. All the time. Why didn't the person who channeled this prayer or wrote this prayer, or the people who channeled this prayer, wrote this prayer, why didn't they say, and you should believe in God? That is what theists would believe, and you should believe in God, because you cannot command someone to believe, but you can encourage someone to love. You should love God. Love. And once you then move into the God part and you realize that any human attempt to clarify or to characterize God will be feeble and will fail. And what we're saying really is, and you should love the idea that there's something there that's amazing, that does matter, that does differentiate between right and wrong and good and bad, that there is something there. We don't know it is, we can't touch it, we can't see it, but we know it's there. It's too outside of the realm of possibility. If it were outside, if it was impossible to believe that there's not something there that we can't see. We don't know what it is. We can't really count on it, but to count on it would be a human gesture. So what we know is that the consummate word in there is love. And maybe it just means love God, love all, everything, and nothing, and everything in between, with all your heart, with all your might, with all your soul, strongly and fervently, and teach it to your children, because, and not just your children, but the children you teach, your nieces, your nephews, the people that regard you as heroes. Make an impression on them. Be as an example. And one of the statements that I wrote this year, may idols become heroes. Because idols are just people that we love, or we claim to love, or look at, or respect, because they're good at something, or they look beautiful. Idols, or they have done some magnificent thing, some magnificent feat. But how do they live their lives? How do they model for young people how to be righteous people? That's the question that helps us to say heroes become models. Heroes become models. Heroes are models. Heroes are models. Idols become heroes. Got that one. So, if you were doing a picture or writing a poem or thinking of a line for a song or a blessing, or whether you were just being, I hope that the Yom Tov experience can be for you a time of possibility. Because one of the beautiful definitions of the soul is infinite possibility. And we have infinite possibility in every one of us. And maybe the soul is a gesture towards actualizing a possibility, eliminating other possibilities, and creating a brand new set of infinite possibilities. And maybe we have a chance to make it better. And for sure, we shouldn't give up. There are so many ways that we can make the world better. So for those that I can see on the screen, Ruby and Ruby, I guess there's two Rubies, and Benjamin. So happy to see you tonight, Benjamin. I love your comments. Nate. And anybody else who's on tonight. It's great to see you. It's great to see your face, Ben. Thanks for joining us tonight. If you brought apples and honey, have them. If you're eating a sandwich, have it. If you have candles to light, light them. If you have a tallis to wear, wear it. Ruby, it's so good to see you. Both Rubies. Are there two Rubies? I guess there's two Rubies. Okay, that's awesome. I think I must know both of them. There's one Ruby. Is there another Ruby? Is there another Ruby? Let me put you guys on. Hang on. How do you unmute people? Cancel. See, unmute. Here we go. Ask to unmute. You can unmute yourselves now if you like. Can I hear you guys? Hang on. Here we go. How about now? Do I hear you? I think you guys can unmute yourselves, right? No? Or unmute. Okay, I'm allowing you to unmute yourselves now, I think. Yeah. Ruby, that's a great look with the green eyebrows. I'm really liking that. Ruby's a new student of mine, and it's great to see you. And Ben, that was a hearty drink of iced tea, grape juice. Yeah, good. So yeah, why don't we bless the fruit of the vine and the challah, and then we'll sign off, and you guys can go have with your own family. I hope you enjoyed a little bit of this. I have a beautiful Kiddush cup. Isn't that nice? Look at it. It's from Israel. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Don't worry, that wasn't wine. It's juice. And look at our beautiful challah, which I'm not allowed to touch yet. But if I bless it, I have to eat a piece. So we'll just say that the mice got to it, right? Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Teavon, right here. I'm going to take that chunk out. Nobody will notice, right? Sam, are you still muted? I mean, Sam. Sorry, Ben. I'll never call you Sam again until next time I call you Sam. There we go. Who can I hear now? The comments were great. I love the comments. Who says they could play the shofar, Ben? You probably could. I'll bring it on Wednesday with sanitary wipes so that you can try it.
Yes.
You just have to buzz your lips, right? Like this.
Yeah, you also have to breathe through your diaphragm.
Exactly. And you do turn red in the face. Ruby, have you ever blown on a shofar? Never.
I was in a camp out with some scouts in my troop,
Yeah?
and I blew a pipe, and it sounded kind of like a.
Wow. I think it's a little bit like playing the oboe or the English horn or the bassoon. So, Nate, so good to see you. And I'm going to look forward to seeing you guys, Ruby and Sam, and maybe there's someone else there in the next class. Shana Tova. Are you guys going to? Okay, we'll see you. We'll see you at class on Thursday night, right?
Bye.
Right? Bye. Shana Tova.
What's on Wednesday?
Thursday. Did I say Wednesday?
Yeah, you said you'll bring it Wednesday.
I shouldn't have said Wednesday.
Well, bye.
Okay, and I'll see you too, Ben.
See ya.
All right, take care. Shana Tova. And Shana Tova to all of you in Facebook land, in YouTube land.